Welcome to Black Women's World Podcast. It is SistaNista Time. Well, hey y'all. Listen, it's TRACYMAC. I want to tell you a story. Or as Bernie Mac used to say, let me tell you a story. Anyway, a long time ago, long time ago, I had left college. I didn't go back to college because I had terrible bouts with illness, and they couldn't find out what was wrong. So in all the testing and surgeries and whatever, I had a pile up of medical bills, and I didn't have health insurance, and I was responsible for my own medical bills. And when all that happened, it was time to go back to college. I was so far in debt. And plus, I didn't know how to navigate the financial aid system. And so I started working. To get out of debt. I wanted my own house. And during that time, I started dating a young man. And he attended my dad's church. And he could really, really sing. I mean, all the runs and the riffs and whatever. And he had written this song for my parents' 25th wedding anniversary. And he wrote the song. He said, "Tracy, I want you to duet with me." And I was like, man, no. I don't sing like that. And I was like, I don't have a lead voice. I can sing enough. But the level of excellence I like to hear when someone leads a song or solos, I don't have it. Now, I can get through something. But that level of excellence, I know I don't have. Now, I can write. I can arrange, I can produce, I can sing parts, soprano, alto, tenor, sometimes 4 and 5 part harmony. Well, let me back up. I don't do so well soprano anymore. But anyway, he's like, "I want you to sing with me." And so the friend of ours who was going to play the piano and the organ for the song, she was like, "Come over to my house and rehearse, Tracy. You'll get it. And I was like, it's not that I don't get it. My voice is not up to par for me. And so I tried to learn the song, of course, because he was the one to do a lot of riffs and runs. There was a lot of riffs and runs in the song. The lyrics were beautiful, but I just don't have the vocal skill to do all the riffs and runs. And every time we get to my part, he wanted me to sing the word Christ a certain way. And he would like, sing Christ. He'd do all these runs, and the best I could do was, "Christ is our cornerstone. He'll calm the stormy skies when they arise." And it was like, "Nah, Tracy, you got to try harder." He said, "Listen," and y'all don't get offended because what he said, there's a lot of truth to it. He said, "Listen, you're the pastor's daughter. People are going to expect you to sing." He said, "So you got to bring it." He said, "Because you're not the type to preach like people that would listen to a woman preacher. You're not the type." And I heard it and I listened. And because of the way people's mindsets are, there's a lot of truth to what he said. And so a story within the story is many years later, I had a mentor, and I haven't had the luxury of having many mentors. A lot of people haven't accepted me. But my mentor, he said, "I don't know why you're not making millions of dollars with what you do." And so he said, "Let me look at some of the videos you do, and let me look at some of your materials, and we'll get back together again." And we got back together. And he said, "I think you're pretty cool, Tracy." He said, "But something about what you do, you're not the type that people are going to invite into their spaces to speak. You're not the type that's going to be on a conference roster." And I'm going to tell you, that hurt my feelings because in my knower, I know I'm a really good speaker. I know I can communicate well. I know that the messages that I deliver translate well with people. And I'm like, why am I not the type? He said, "You're 222. And I said, 222. And this was years ago. He said, "Some people are going to think you're too spiritual versus traditionally religious. Some people are going to think you're too secular because of the language and how casually you speak." He said, it's just 2-2 for people, Tracy." And I said, man, because I had heard being 2-2-2 all my life. Whether it be too short, too dark, too light, too quiet, too opinionated, too progressive, too seemingly timid, 2-2-2. When they want you to talk, you quiet. I've always seemed to be going against the grain of what everybody is doing, what everybody wants. But I began to learn to accept that. And so between the time the young man told me that I was not the type, and then my mentor told me I was not the type, I never took either one of those things so negatively that it hurt my feelings to the point where I couldn't learn something from it. And the point of peace I want to offer to you is, when I heard that I wasn't the type over and over again in my life, it always causes me to create a space where I am the type for. Because when you hear you're not the type, that's also another way of people saying you don't belong. And so many times in my life, it wasn't just that I felt like I didn't belong. I was told I didn't belong, either verbally, vibes, impressions, hearsay that all line up. And so I began to create a space where I belong. And when you create a space where you belong and it's so beautiful, you get to invite other people who don't feel like they're the type or they don't feel like they belong into it. Because when I write music, I write for the type of person whose voice may not belong. I write the lyrics, they may not belong in a particular genre. You know, I may write harmonies, they may not belong in that particular style, or where that I may put dissonance somewhere. When it comes to my speaking, I do conferences, I've done, because I don't do a whole lot anymore, conferences and workshops on subjects that may not belong. I've invited people to the stage with me that weren't the type, who also may not belong. So you see what I'm saying? Sometimes there's a lot of truth. It may be archaic, but it's the way society moves and the way society feels. And because it's repeated so much, people think it's true. Where I may not be the type of woman, the pastor's daughter, who should be singing, because I'm not the type of woman that people are going to listen to, speak to them from a spiritual space. And that was then. This is 1987. A lot of things and mindsets have progressed since then. And there are people who hear, so thank God for the ones who do. But not being invited to the conferences, I still don't get invitations to conferences. You still don't see me on the roster, as he said, for conferences and workshops, and that's fine. But I've created those spaces for people who may not be the type. So whenever you feel like you don't belong, whenever you feel like you're not the type, whenever people tell you you're too, that's a fine opportunity for you to create the space. Create the space for other people to feel. Because another song that this guy named Will introduced me to, he says, we all want to belong, yeah. And he can really sing it. But I just would sing that over and over. We all want to belong. It's a basic human need. And if you don't belong anywhere else, I pray that the ministry of acceptance I have makes you realize that in some way, shape, or form, you belong with me. And we belong together. Remember that song, We Belong Together? It's an old song, but anyway. But yeah, so those 2 times I was told I was not the type. It caused me that every other time I was told I didn't belong and wasn't the type, to create a space where I am the type and where I do belong, and other people can come with me. So I hope you got a point of peace out of this today. And you belong, and you're not too. You matter, and you're enough. And let me tell you something, if you don't believe anything else I say, please believe when I say I'm grateful and I love you for real. Much love and peace. I'm TracyMac.
Peace Place for Me, a virtual connection where the contagious love of Jesus Christ abides and thrives. We are an exclusive community purposed to enhance and expand spiritual and holistic growth to advance the kingdom of God. We get to enjoy life more abundantly in peace. You are welcome to join Pastor and Chaplain TracyMac in this virtual, interfaith, inclusive, and purpose-filled community. For access to join our virtual meetings on 2nd and 4th Sundays, 7 a.m. Eastern Time, email us at info@peaceplaceforme.com. That is info@peaceplaceforme.com. Or you can reach us at our website, www.peaceplaceforme.com. We look forward to seeing you.
You've been listening to Black Women's World Podcast, the BWWP, brought to you in part by TRACYMAC Solutions for Life Institute, coaching and training services. No doubt you have enjoyed being in our world, and it doesn't have to stop here. Head on over to blackwomensworld.com. This is my personal invitation to you to stay connected with me on social media and more. I'd love to see you there, and I'm so grateful you came to be with me here. Invite someone else to join you in our queendom next time so they can feel the vibe of our tribe of SistaNistas and SistaNista lovers too. Remember to be kind, be authentic, be generous, be excellent, be grateful, and while you're at it, go ahead and be extraordinary, because that's just what SistaNistas do, on purpose, through mission, with passion and compassion. It's a Black woman's world, baby, and you, my SistaNista, are proof. I'm your self-discovery companion,
your professional peacemaker, and your host, TRACYMAC. Wherever you are in the world, may you love and be loved by somebody. Peace.